G'day there, ladies and gents of the internet. I am the Braveheart Aussie and welcome to a journey in world building. Before we get started on today's concept video, I just wanted to let you know that I've started a brand new Patreon account for those of you who'd like to support the channel on our world building project over the coming weeks and months. I've already developed some amazing rewards for people, including stickers and badges, as well as what I'm calling lore cards, collectible 14cm square cards summarizing a different aspect of lore or settings of the Dark Diaspora universe. These will be made available in the coming months for people supporting the channel at certain tiers, so go over to patreon.com/JiWB channel, all one word, and check it out. This is the third of the concept parts of our world building project as we explore the fundamental elements of our grimdark sci-fi universe. So far we've been discussing how and why we left Earth, concepts that very much lean into the sci-fi and post-apocalyptic elements of our genre. Today I'd like to examine one of the more grimdark elements of the Dark Diaspora, something I've termed the Malady. I knew from early on in the development of this universe that I wanted interstellar travel to be dangerous. I wanted it to have an element of risk and cost that would weigh on the decisions of people in the universe as to when and even whether to travel between the stars. The idea is designed to counter the potential for people over time to concentrate on 2 or 3 of the more modestly habitable worlds that we're going to position in our universe, and instead remain dispersed throughout our quadrant of the galaxy. This would thereby reinforce the feeling of permanency of the diaspora itself, and open up hundreds, if not thousands, of settings of a huge variety for us to build and explore. I personally find universes where spacecraft simply travel from one star to another, slipping into hyperspace or simply jumping, somewhat boring and out of kilter with the long history of journeys on our planet. Perhaps I'm heavily influenced by my own country's colonial past, where journeys by tall ship and later steamer halfway across the world would take months and open up the ships and the passengers to all manner of risks, from weather, pirates, and even the ocean depths themselves. Instead, I've been drawn to universes in which the very journey between the stars itself, well, is a journey. Not necessarily a long one, but definitely one of significance. The Warhammer 40k universe does this particularly well with the warp. This is a parallel reality that ships jump into and shortcut across real space. In that case, the warp just happens to be a hell-like dimension, and the shortcut is across Satan's front lawn. In the Dark Diaspora, I have a different idea for the danger of interstellar travel that I want to embed into our universe: FTL sickness. The basic idea of this sickness, that I've called the Malady, is that our minds have formed and evolved over the millennia to exist within the constructs of space-time. So when a human is pulled from this reality, travelling beyond real space, our minds themselves start to warp. Our consciousness and higher level cognition begins to tear and break, and soon we devolve into something of a beast, aggressive, violent, and wholly unresponsive to reason. The best example of this in science fiction would be the Reavers from the Firefly or Serenity universe. The idea in the story of the Dark Diaspora universe is that we don't discover the Malady until after the first wave of colonization efforts, called the Scattering, has commenced. The way I justify this is from a combination of limited test flights being undertaken and the fact that it can take extended exposure for the Malady to take hold. So, if you're doing a test flight, say from Earth to Jupiter and back, you might not see effects on the crew of the test ships until months or potentially years into the future. But for those initial colonists travelling thousands of light years to different stars and planets across the galaxy, then the effect would manifest much quicker, maybe even by the time they return to real space. This helps to add 2 other dimensions to this concept. The first is that first wave of colonization failed. That the pods that are floating around out there in space are basically empty tombs filled with blood and corpses. And perhaps even hundreds of years later, there are still some pods out there that are now filled with terrible creatures warped by radiation, isolation, and time. Wouldn't that be a very fun thing for a character or ship in our universe to come across? The second part is that we really had to have come up with some form of solution, or at least some way to protect ourselves from the Malady for subsequent waves of colonization and in the more current era of the universe. The idea here is that of drugs, namely a cocktail of narcotics and pharmaceuticals that put a passenger into a almost comatose-like state, protecting their higher brain functions from the malady. I'm calling this cocktail of drugs the fog, after the concept of brain fog, which is a symptom of like overwork, lack of sleep, stress, or even excessive screen use. So, you basically take the fog, it puts you out and protects you from the worst elements of the malady as you travel. In this way, it's sort of a little bit like in the Expanse series using acceleration fluids called the juice to protect passengers and crew from high G-forces. And I will also say that it's not 100% effective. Overuse or other factors might mean that even with the fog, you may still get the malady, go insane and feral and try and kill everybody on board. And that I think pretty much sums up our concept. People travel across interstellar space at their own risk, protected only by the fog and chance against the mental destruction that is the malady. Would you want to travel between the stars if you could get the malady? How bad would your home have to be for you to risk that trip? And that's where I'm going to leave this video here today. Make sure you go and check out the Patreon I mentioned before, patreon.com/JiWB channel. And if you are interested, make sure you go and subscribe to this channel as well and drop a comment below to let me know that you're enjoying the content, or if you've got a comment or a suggestion of what we can add into our universe. But that's it for today. Thank you so much. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and may the journey continue. Hey!